Welcome to yet another edition of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. We're happy to have you with us, and we invite you to come along on this political type journey. Today we're going to be talking about the ever popular Donald J. Trump. I'm Phil Taylor Jones, your host, and welcome once again. Excuse me. Yes, the Donald has been at the forefront of the media world ever since he burst upon the scene as wanting to run for president of this old United States. And seemingly he never looked back. Yes, Donald Trump is Donald Trump. He's boisterous. He's very competitive. You can tell that by looking at the poll numbers. When somebody jumps ahead of him in the polls, he reacts. Sometimes not in such a kind way, but he's very competitive. And if you look at the type of person he is, he's a mogul. And usually they are very competitive. In some ways they have to be to stay on top of their game. And certainly Donald is no exception to that rule. Donald is a family man. He has a beautiful family. And he works hard. You don't get to be a billionaire by sitting on your butt. So he works hard. Now, we're going to look at the Donald on several aspects and things that surround the Donald on several aspects. First of all, let's just take what's going on in the news media now. If you notice at his rallies, they have tunnel vision, like he plays to a very small audience. Well, in the other part of the ludicrous, liberal, lunatic news media, they show that he has very large audiences, 40,000, 20,000, multi-thousands. But the news media will tone it down, unless someone gets thrown out. Now, there were a couple of incidences where some various groups were at his rallies that really shouldn't have been there, and they were thrown out, and they made a big brouhaha out of that. Excuse me, got a frog in the throat. Well, we know that these people will try to tear down anything, especially if it's Republican. Now, as far as Donald's support base, let the ludicrous liberal lunatics tell it. They all come from the land of no shoes and no teeth. They're very ignorant people. They haven't even gone past the school, let alone to it, let them tell it. They're redneck, only white. What else are they saying about them? That the only reason that they flock to the Donald is because they are hate mongers and fear mongers, just as he perpetuates them to be with his speeches. Well, we know that that's not true. There are people from all walks of life supporting the Donald. They're, the very lowest of the middle class to the upper middle class and on to some of the rich. Because as we know, in this horrid economy, I don't care how much old bastard gets on there on his little State of the Union address and says, "Oh, it was really good. This union is in a great shape." We know that's wrong because there are businesses that are leaving, going to other places like China and republics of China. They're leaving and going to Mexico or where have you. It's just a mess, as Donald says. We don't do anything great anymore. We used to produce anything from Zwieback cookies to aircraft, or aircraft to Zwieback cookies, if you want to do it alphabetically correct. We don't do that anymore. We're under this cloud of financial fear. We're living paycheck to paycheck. Usually there's more month left at the end of the money, too much of it. Donald sees this, and the rich people also see it, because while they may be super rich, here's the rub. They too are feeling the pinch because they got to dig down in their little bank accounts or their big bank accounts a little more than they used to get things that used to be on a somewhat inexpensive scale. So to sit there and say that Donald only plays to a group of uneducated Neanderthals, in essence, is just a bloated sense of rottenness, if you will, from the ludicrous liberal lunatic news media. They're also saying that Donald is a hate monger. Let them tell it. He's the grand dragon of the Ku Klux Klan or the Aryan Nation or any other hate group. He is the devil in the deep blue sea. They've demonized the man to no great knowledge, I just say. It's just, I can't even speak, because the man, with what he said on the behalf of the Hispanics, on behalf of Muslims or Islamists, he was not inclusive of all of them. He was not inclusive of closing out every aspect of them. Words like temporary and the ones that want to do us harm. When he spoke of Hispanics, he didn't say all the Hispanics were murderers and rapists and drug dealers. He said the ones that come over the border that shouldn't be in this country. When speaking of Muslims or Islamists, he didn't say that he wanted to keep them out permanently. He said he wanted to keep them out temporarily until America could get its act together when investigating them before letting them in the country. Now, here's what I find very strange. Marco Rubio, who I really don't care for at all, he made the statement that if he were, when he gets to be president, like he knows something, anyone who wants to come to the country that he doesn't know who they are or what their purpose is for being here or what their reason is for being here won't get into the country. Well, he didn't exactly use the words Muslim/Islamist, but did he not say the same thing that Donald Trump has been saying? Donald says we shouldn't let anybody into the country, especially Muslims, Islamists, until we know who they are, what their intent is, what have you. Same thing. But because Rubio says it, it's okay. Because Trump says it, he's demonized. Makes you wonder why these people are so afraid of Donald Trump. Okay, let's look at that. Number one, Trump is rich. He's financing his own party. He's not taking money from anybody, so therefore, past practice would dictate he's not going to be beholden to anybody. If I give you money to do something, unless I'm this wonderful guy who just doesn't care what you do after I give you the money, and these political muckety-mucks and lobbyists and people like that, they're not. If they give a politician X amount of dollars, they want something for that. If a lobbyist gives a politician X amount of dollars, they want special laws to be in place or special situations to be enacted so that they can benefit from it financially. Donald isn't like that. So, he kind of calls his own shots. Politically correct, he's not that either. Outspoken, extremely. And that I can appreciate in the man because I'm that same way. I guess you can tell from some of the shows we do. I don't bite my tongue, neither does he. The man has been threatened. His life has been threatened. From, some of the upper muckety-mucks in the GOP. That is ludicrous. An American citizen is what this guy is. He's running for the highest office in the land to try to make things better again, and somebody threatens his life. That's lower than the snake's belly, and it's on the ground. The man wants to do what's right for America. The morale in this country at present is so low, it's got to reach up to touch bottom. Why? Because of government. As we alluded to in another show, it's too big. They don't look towards what we need. They're so far up and got their noses so far up in the air, they don't even realize that we still exist. Donald has gone around the country, as many other presidential candidates, both Republican and Democrat, and actually talked to the people. Now, having done that, perchance the Donald wants to help people. Whether he will or not, no, who can say? But the way this man is treated is, in his words, disgusting and disgraceful. Disgraceful. Now, something else has been in the news. Well, it's been in the news for a few weeks now, maybe even a month or so, because I think it started before Christmas. And this started across the pond. Now, out of all the countries that are overseas, I find it very interesting. Little red flags have gone up with "Oh Bastard's" name all over them. Great Britain and Mr. David Cameron had some interesting things to say about Trump. In fact, so interesting that someone, and this was the Muslim Islamic contingent over there, they even have a British Muslim bureau over there, and they decided to start a petition to ban Donald Trump from Great Britain. Now, the man has numerous holdings over there and has conducted business over there, but they want to ban him, these muzzies. David Cameron was against it. He said some things that were kind of negative, but overall he was against it. And the Minister of, I guess, the Interior over there, who has the total autonomy to block somebody, said they're not going to do it. Why would you make a martyr of someone? Why would you interfere in something that's not your concern? He's running for the President of the United States, not the Prime Minister of Great Britain. Why would you alienate an ally because of one man? Why would you interject your nose into another country's business? So, they were debating over it for 3 hours, but the interesting thing is none of their parliament or their political muckety-mucks even voted on it. Goes to show two things. These Muslims become offended at the drop of a hat, so they didn't like what Donald said. And like I said, in my opinion, this has "Oh Bastard" written all over it, because he may have gotten together with the British Muslim Bureau and said, hey, make some waves, make some trouble for this guy. I wouldn't put it past him, since he's a card-carrying muzzy lover and supporter. Leave Donald Trump alone. He hasn't done anything but make some statements that would make sense for things happening in our country. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again, and we're going to go on and close the show out, but I must say this. To have all these people come into our country, what benefit is it to American citizens to have them come here? How is that going to help me? How is that going to help you to have some no-hopers come over with nothing but a few little items in a knapsack and the funky clothes on their backs? How is that going to help us? How is that going to help our economy? It's not, because we now have to take care of them. How is it going to help the security of this country? It's not, because the vast majority of them we're probably going to be scared of, because they may have a bomb with them. Or they may create some other kind of mayhem in our country. Donald Trump sees this. Anybody with an ounce of brains sees this. But he was the only one that was bold enough to speak it. And now he's being ostracized for it. They try to put him in trick bags on the stage of the debates. They misquote the man on everything he says. News bites on telly. They don't actually say what he said. They make this man out to be the worst person that ever walked the earth. And it's sickening. It's disgusting, and it needs to stop. Those people that rally behind those that demonize the Trump man, they don't like what he's saying to help our country, get the hell out. The door is open. Should he become the Republican nominee, I'll support the man wholeheartedly. Even though I would like to see a Christie Huckabee ticket, I'll support the Trump man. As I said before, as much as I don't like Marco Rubio, I like him a little more than Hillary Clinton. We definitely don't need any Democrats in the White House anymore. At least not for a long time, until they show some promise. Because they haven't shown any in the past 7 years, and this year he's not showing any more promise. He's stumbling all over himself. He's nothing but a puke bucket, and be happy when 2017 comes in to see him go. With that being said, go Trump man, keep at him, give him hell, and we'll see you next time right here on the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Stay safe and take care. Bye-bye.